I think the secret of acting, really, if that's the profession I'm in, I suppose it is, I'm not so sure, but I think that the secret of it is not to lose touch. You know,
with people.
You know, I remember once there was
That's
a journalist here in Dublin whose name I won't mention, who criticised me once for not turning up on a television show, which is a thing I've never done in my life. He wrote this article about Richard Harris and his sycophantic friends. You know, he travels with an entourage who protects him from the public. And I read this and said, who's he writing about?
Yeah, because it's not you at all.
I have never had in my life, I travelled by myself. A mate, maybe. I never had bodyguards, secretaries. Sean Connery and I are the only two actors in Hollywood who have never had a press agent.
Right.
I have never had, in the history of my career, a press agent.
I don't think you need it, though,
No,
because
probably
you're such a determined man.
I don't need bodyguards. I can certainly take care of myself.
Right.
So you have this sort of image of some idiot in the press.
Yeah.
I forget his name, O'Toole or something. I think he was wrote this thing in the press about me.
And then immediately people believe it.
They believe it. You
that's
read,
the
who's he
problem.
writing about? I mean, friends, sycophant. I don't have anybody with me. I'm here by myself. I travelled by myself.
Do you know what I liked was when Josh Logan, when you met him and you wanted that part so badly. I mean, that shows a lot about your personality.
Well,
your determination.
Yeah, well, the same thing with. Well, look, Wrestling Ernest Hemingway, they gave me the script to read. Someone said, read this script. So my agent said, it's a wonderful read, but you have no hope of getting it. I said, what's the point of reading it? I don't like reading scripts. I like reading novels. And I said, and I was reading a Margarita Duras book. I'm on an aeroplane flying to New York, and I've thought I packed that book in my briefcase. And I didn't when I got in the plane. And I found the script for Hemingway. And I read it. Because of nothing else to read on the plane, having left my book behind. It's fate. I read it, and when I got to New York, I said, I'm going to play this.
See, that was meant to be.
I called up, and they said, now let me tell you who's ahead of you. Paul Newman wants it. Walter Matthau wants it. Jack Lemmon wants it. Kirk Douglas wants it. Anthony Quinn wants it. You're way down the bottom of the list.
So how did you get it?
You're not going to get it. So I said, yes, I am. Yes, I am. Where's the director? She was a woman, and she happened to be in New York at the time. I saw her for a 5-minute interview that lasted 5 hours.
Right.
And by the end of it, you say the one thing you say the one thing that absolutely what's it called in chess? Checkmates them. You say, I tell you what, if you have any doubt about my playing this part, test me. They go, what? Test me. They said, test you? Yeah, test me. You mean that you'd submit to a test? Yep, I will. Are you sure? Oh, yes, I've told you. What date?
Good.
And before where you go, you find yourself, I paid my own way out to California. I paid my own hotel. I paid my own air flight. I said, you supply the camera and the film and the place to shoot it, and I'll test. And I tested and got it. And that's what you're going to see, the Hemingway. But acting, all this thing about acting, I used to make people laugh at parties and be at parties and start imitating people. I was a good mimic.
Did you didn't use it in school or anything?
No.
Because a lot of kids do, you know, when they're good
not at all. No.
at acting.
Not at all, but I think that's one of the... Do you know what we've done? Do you know what we've done with our lives? Do you know what's all wrong? You see, if you can take acting as a metaphor for life, it's like in rugby. We've taken it all too seriously. Now we have the All Blacks, and you have the South Africans, you've got the Irish team, squad training, 5 days a week. There was a time when you went out to play. You just played because it was good to play.
And you didn't analyze it to
Not
death.
at all.
Yeah.
And now we take it all so proud. There's actors walking around New York, and they're so precious, and they all dine in a special club because they don't want to dine with other people. They all eat in a place called Columbus, down on Columbus Avenue. This is where De Niro, and this is where the boys who exclude themselves from the general rabble of people because they are so precious and they don't want to be interfered. And you've bodyguards around this restaurant not letting you in unless, oh, Richard Harris, you can come in. Why should I be allowed in?
Yeah.
They create a kind of barrier of sort of preciousness around. They're not precious. There's no pressure. Politicians aren't precious anymore. Stop all this pressure. They're ordinary people that came up from farms and from Killybegs and from Ennis and Clare. Stop all this. It all becomes art and darling.
What was the most difficult time in your life? Like, I know you went through that time with drinking, but was that necessarily...
It wasn't difficult at all.
No.
I loved it. I mean, I confound analysts. I confound Alcoholics Anonymous. I confound people who are in therapy, who say that if you drank as much as you did and you lived the life that you lived, you had to be running away from something. Mm-hmm. There had to be something in your past that drove you into dark corridors. Now it's all child abuse. Oh, God, it's so boring, isn't it? I mean, I hate to tell you that. Yeah. God, everybody's been child abused now. They get headlines in papers. You can see that PR guy say to them, say you were child abused, I get you the headline. I get you the front page of Time magazine. Yeah, I was child abused. Yeah, what happened? Because my father kissed me too strongly or something. Right. Or he held my hand. My father held my hand once when I was going to church. That's child abuse. I was child abused. I mean, oh, God help us. Isn't it awful? Isn't it just dreadful? You're afraid to sort of...
You're afraid to be normal.
Well, and they talk about, sexual harassment. I should be in jail for life for sexual harassment. For life. I'd never get out of jail. I harassed every female I ever saw. I made passes at. And if I didn't make passes at them, they'd be furious to know why I didn't. And if I did, 20 years later, I'm accused of it. You know what I mean?
I do.
It's so funny, isn't it? It's so pathetic, really.
It is.
But anyway, I don't know. What were we saying? Where were
we were talking about the most difficult time. It obviously wasn't when you were drinking.
Not at all. I drank because I loved it. I absolutely adored it. I adored it. I was running away. I was the happiest drunk in the world. I was the happiest guy in the world. And I used to look forward to waking up the next morning with a terrible hangover. And then suddenly opening the Daily Express and find, what did I do?
And you didn't remember.
Where did I do it? I was in Bow Street. I spent 2 nights in jail. How many stitches have I got? How did I get those? I used to love it. I used to love it. And it had nothing to do with problems. I had no problems whatsoever. I had a good family, and my mother and father. I have nothing against them. There
7
were
brothers
too
and
many
sisters.
brothers and sisters. There were 8 of us, yeah. Too many, maybe. But it doesn't matter, And people say, oh, there's a secret demon in there. No, there's none. Whenever he liked, and however he liked.
I can see the two of you together.
Now I got to catch my plane.